Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. Nigel Farage, this man right here is a big supporter of Donald Trump, right? Now I'm very curious, is he gonna support his friend just because, he wants to keep that friendship nice and smooth? Or is he gonna call out the reasonable positions? Is he actually gonna say this is probably not a good thing? Also, taking into consideration, he is putting the tariffs on your country that you want to become the prime minister of. Are you going to call him out? Most likely not, because, he doesn't really care about the country. He just wants power. Everyone can see that. I can see that. You probably can see that. But let's get right into the video just to actually see if he's going to take up the right position this time. And if you like the video, drop a like. And if you want to see more videos like this, subscribe. Let's get into it.
Huge concern about these tariffs. Were they avoidable?
Well, he said he'd put tariffs on. He was elected to do that. And of course, he's put us in the lower tier, the lowest tier. Interestingly, EU 20%, UK 10%. By the way, I'm not pretending 10% is good.
No.
It's just less bad than it would have been without Brexit.
It's all down to you then, because you took
Well,
the EU.
it's something that most of the commentariat can't really see.
Do we owe you a thank you then, Nigel Farage, for getting us out of the European Union and avoiding these tariffs?
Well,
Wow, that's crazy. I did not expect this turn at all. That's a crazy turn to say, oh, after 5 years of actually leaving the EU, now we've actually got one good thing. By the way, after 5 years, this is the first good thing we've got. So thank you so much for giving us one good thing after 5 years and giving us like 1,000 bad things. Thank you so much. The fact he's trying to justify Brexit by just getting a 10% less tariff. That's it. That's a justification. We owe you a thank you. No, absolutely no. Because you had no idea that it was gonna come to this. You had no idea when you were voting for Brexit. This was not the reason why anyone was voting for Brexit. So when the decision actually comes, it's like, oh, thank you so much for actually getting us out of the EU, because it meant we actually don't get as much tariffs as we were supposed to. Thank you so. It's like, nah, that can never work. Because when you wanted Brexit, it wasn't because we can avoid tariffs. Okay, it was for different reasons, and it never ever worked. That's a crazy turn.
9 years later.
well, but I think we should go much further than that. I can tell you this. I sat down face to face with Trump in 2017. He said, we want to do a deal with you guys. I want to show the world I believe in trade if it's fair, if it's right, if it's good for both sides. But of course, we didn't do a deal. Why? Because the Conservatives didn't take us out of the European Union.
No, but that's stupid though. Because right now, what's to say Trump wouldn't just go back on the deal, whatever deal you make with him? Because right now he's putting tariffs on countries because he believes these countries are ripping off America. That's fine. The UK has a surplus with America. We are buying more from them than they are buying more from us. So he's still putting 10% tariffs on us anyways. So what does it actually say about keeping his words? If you had made any deal with him, what makes you think we just go back on him, still put the tariffs on you anyways? Because the reason why he's putting tariffs on every country, that reason doesn't apply to us. Yet, we still got a 10% tariff. So, like, no, absolutely not.
We went through the whole of 2017, 2018, 2019, and on it went. And by the time we'd finally left the European Union, frankly, it was all a bit too late. We did, however, do a lot of negotiation. 2/3 of a deal is there on the table. And it was really interesting to hear Jonathan Reynolds this morning. Because on the one hand, you've got Ursula von der Leyen of the European Union saying, we're going to retaliate. And Jonathan Reynolds saying, no, we're not going to retaliate. We're going to look to ways not just to erase tariffs, but to go further towards a trade deal. And it's very interesting for a Labour government, led by a Prime Minister who wanted a second referendum. They're now actually behaving a bit more like Brexiteers. Fascinating.
Using the powers that Brexit gave them, because it's on them.
Using the powers Brexit gave them on this, and also on foreign policy. When the reason, we can come to Ukraine, and I'm, by the way, very cautious about sending British troops on the ground in Ukraine for an undetermined period of time. But even acting as he's trying to do as the bridge between the European members of NATO and America, Brexit has benefited this Prime Minister.
Extraordinary, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's because of the chaos that Trump has actually put on the table for everyone to make a meal out of. That's the problem. If it was any reasonable president, anyone that actually respected rule of law, anyone that actually respected countries, you wouldn't need this. These benefits are coming from a situation whereby someone is making really bad decisions. That's the only reason why. If you had a competent president in the White House, these benefits of Brexit would not be the case at all. So the only reason why we're getting benefits of this Brexit is literally because we have a madman in charge. That's it. That's not a good thing at all. That all basically all it's trying to say is it takes a really bad situation for you to get any benefits from Brexit. Okay, if you sold that like 9 years ago when people were voting, nobody will vote for you.
Have you talked to the White House? Are they using you as a back channel? We thought that might happen when he came in, and right now would be quite helpful.
What's really interesting is that in the first term, I spoke to the White House quite a lot. In this term, I haven't, because I can't be seen to interfere unless the government wants me to be useful or to be helpful. I have said many times, I don't just know the president, I know half the cabinet.
And you've told Keir Starmer that on the floor of the House. You offered it, paying privately.
I've done it many times. They're choosing to go their own route, and fine. Perhaps they're better qualified than me to do it. I just think that, you know, when it comes to the people holding the big key jobs,
Absolutely not. Whatever it's talking about, allowing you to be the one that's like in the middle of the United Kingdom and the United States, absolutely not. Because it will probably just backstab. The prime minister. What he's gonna do? He's just gonna talk to his friends. He's gonna talk to the people he knows. He's gonna talk on his behalf. He's gonna talk for himself. He doesn't care about like representing our prime minister right now. He's gonna talk so bad behind him. He's gonna make it look so bad, and he's gonna talk himself up, and he's gonna make his own interest priority. Absolutely. There's no way Keir Starmer can ever trust you to do their job. No way. You just backstab him.
economics. I just happen to know these people, happen to be friendly with these people. Look, I repeat the offer. If the government wants me to help, I would help, and I would do it, even though they're a Labour government.
No thanks.
I do it in the national interest.
There's a 417-page list of products that could be tariffed at 10% proposed by the government this afternoon. What would your response be to where we are now? If you were Prime Minister now, how would you mitigate this hit on our industry?
You'd recognise that in the next week, that isn't going to change, but in the next month or two, it can change. Lots of reasons why. Number one, we are still the biggest foreign investor in America. America is the biggest foreign investor here. We don't trade with America at a massive surplus, unlike Germany and many other countries.
Exactly. So why don't you actually call out Trump? Why don't you actually say, hey, I know we're friends, but what you're doing is really unfair, because the reason why you're tariffing everyone, that reason doesn't apply to us. But you're just going to skip over that because, you know, he wants to keep that friendship.
In the European Union, there are areas like financial services where, frankly, some simplification of the rules could benefit both sides. The biggest argument is over food, but frankly, if things are labelled properly and consumers have the choice, I don't see a massive problem there either, frankly.
That's chicken, and I like chlorinated chicken.
Well, yeah, but I mean, every bag of salad you buy in any supermarket, any pre-bag salad is chlorine washed anyway. And look, everyone goes apoplectic about chlorine washed chicken. Don't buy it. It's very easy.
Label it.
Yeah, it's very easy.
No, absolutely not. All that will happen is literally, if people are not buying it, they will just reduce the price, and then people that literally need to have the food will literally just buy it. They'll be like, all right, okay, who cares? We'll just get the chlorine. It doesn't, like, most people don't know the problem with having chlorine in their food. They don't. So people will just buy it anyways, right? People are not here studying and researching exactly what, like, some people are, most people probably are not. Okay, so it's the government's job to protect the people. Like, it's so easy. It's easy for you to say you wouldn't buy it. Of course you wouldn't, because you have money to like buy other things.
Easy.
It's a labelling issue, really.
It's a labelling issue, it's a consumer choice issue, and a consumer knowledge issue.
On Ukraine, that's a big challenge facing. Putin is normally dominating discussion in Westminster, not today because of tariffs. What's your position on boots on the ground? Would you vote? I mean, there was a vote. We are told there's a vote.
I mean, I'm pretty annoyed that the Prime Minister is reverting to outright lies.
Well, that's a big thing to say.
No. Outright lies, saying that reform fawn over Putin. I never heard such rubbish.
But that's your remark saying he's a
No. I said in one
2014.
sentence 12 years ago that I respected him as a leader, but didn't like him as a person and wouldn't live in life.
Strong leader, you said, didn't you?
Yeah, well, there's no questions. What do you?
Why would you respect the guy as a leader? Why? Why would you respect the guy as a leader? He's throwing his army over there just to go die for bad cause. Why would you? What kind of a leader is he?
He is. That's why he's been there.
But that's fawning for them, isn't it?
It's almost as if there's no nuance of any kind allowed. You know, has Putin been a successful Russian politician? Well, up until the invasion of Ukraine, arguably yes. I've never liked the guy. We deplore the invasion. The fact the Prime Minister is sinking to these depths, I think shows you, despite what's happening on the international stage, domestically, this government's become very unpopular very, very quickly. And my nervousness is this. Back in the early 1950s, there was a settlement to end the Korean War. Korea divided north and south with the divide, and the Americans, us to some extent, but the Americans said they'd put an army in to maintain the peace. 72 years later, there are still 24,000 American troops in Korea.
Not because they're there to stop North Korea, but they're there for military alliance. They're not there for peace. They're basically there to be able to, use part of the country to be able to facilitate military exercise. That's it. That's usually what happens. There are American troops in Germany. There are American troops everywhere. It's not just South Korea. What is he talking about?
We went into Afghanistan in 2001. Little did we know we'd be there for 20 years. The British Army has been diminished since 2010.
So what would you do? He skipped the question. He's not telling what he's going to do. What would you do, actually?
It's the smallest it's been for centuries. For every one man in the front line or woman, you need two behind, reserves, etc. So one, I'm worried the army isn't big enough. And two, I want the Prime Minister to tell me, if we send troops in, for how long? And what's the objective?
Just brief.
Yeah, but what would you do then? Just say what would you do so that we can actually, okay, that's the right thing to do. Then we do that. Because he clearly has no bloody plan. I came in here actually thinking for once in his political career, he's actually going to do the right thing and actually call out his best friends who are actually doing things against the self-interest of his own country. But of course, he doesn't care about the country. He just wants to be in a position of power and position of power to be able to celebrate with his best friends in the United States, who are literally putting tariffs on your country. And yet, he hasn't once called them out. Not once. All of a sudden, we got Brexit, so he only gave us 10%. So I guess it's not that bad. Why are you complaining? If I was in charge, I would have not got any tariffs. For once, just be honest. This is unfair. This is bad. I know you're my best friend, but you should not have done this. Boom. It's easy. I came in there expecting me to say that, but he didn't say that. Am I surprised? Not really. That's the kind of person he is. But if you enjoyed the video, drop a like. If you want to see more content like this, you can subscribe. And if you have any difference in opinions, put it down in the comments below.